Currently, the Jumble sale is episode 55 of the original UK series, and it was written by John Grace. So that's the first one we're going to talk about today, but since we're starting a new series, let's begin by talking about the opening scene. Oh, one thing I should mention is that if you want to watch these episodes ahead of time, this podcast is full of spoilers. If you want to watch this right now, you can go to the Fisher-Price YouTube channel, and they've got the entire Kipper series there for whatever reason. I don't understand why Fisher-Price has these, because they never made any Kipper toys that I know of, and they had nothing to do with the production when it was originally made, I don't think. But for whatever reason, Fisher-Price has the entire series on their YouTube channel, so you can go ahead and watch those for free. Or if you want to give a little money and support the show, you can also find Kipper on Amazon Prime. Alright, so the opening scene. We see Kipper sleeping in his basket. The opening title's right above him. And he's just waking up. He peeks over the blanket. He just kind of moves his head along with the music. The theme song saying, "They call him Kipper. Kipper the dog." And sure enough, the song says, "The dog with the slipper." And he picks up this slipper, which I think is supposed to be a teddy bear. It's got little eyes, nose, and ears on it. I don't know why he only has one. They never show him with two slippers like that. So it's just the one slipper. Kipper has a very interesting backstory. The books were originally written by Mick Inkpen, and the very first book about Kipper, or the first book that had Kipper in it, rather, was called The Blue Balloon. And did Kipper have a name in that book? Yeah, in this book, The Blue Balloon, Kipper is in it, but he walks on four legs and looks a little bit more like a real dog. And Kipper belongs to this little boy. I don't know what this boy's name is, but because the story is told in first person from the boy's point of view. And so Kipper actually belongs to somebody, but we never see this boy on the show. It's just Kipper and his dog friends and a pig doing stuff on their own. And there's no humans on this show, at least hardly ever. But the fact that he sleeps in a basket and has a blanket and one slipper, that kind of implies that the slipper is supposed to be like just, I don't know, a chew toy or something for him. We never see him chewing it, though. So yeah, the very first book about Kipper, Kipper is owned by this little boy, but we never see that boy again in any of the other Kipper books, let alone in the TV series. But he still lives in a basket. That's kind of interesting. So does he still live with this boy and they just never show him? I don't know. That is a possibility. I don't even think Kipper talks in that first book, The Blue Balloon. So anyway, the theme song continues. Kipper the dog. By the way, that's a toad, not a frog. And by the way, we'll actually be talking about the Apple TV series Frog and Toad next week. Speaking of a toad, not a frog. And we see Kipper spinning his slipper on his finger. Now he can do this. Do you think that you could? And he can do that, which is more than any old cat could. There are no cat characters. Well, yeah, we'll eventually see an episode that has a cat in it. It's the Conker tree, the one with the cat stuck in a tree. And, of course, Jake also has a kitten. But there's a Kipper book that comes later where there's actually a kitten character. That book is called Hide Me, Kipper, but that book didn't come out until after the TV series ended. I think that book was loosely inspired by the episode we're going to check out after the tag sale / Jumble sale, Hide and Seek. But that book has a cat in it. We'll talk a little bit about that later. So he tosses the slipper into the air, and for whatever reason, he kind of crouches to the ground. I don't know if he's trying to hide or if he's just looking around seeing where the slipper went to. And apparently it falls down behind him and lands perfectly into the basket. And I don't know what he was trying to do. If he heard the slipper land into the basket and he's happy, like, oh, okay, that's where it went. And now he's just kind of dancing around the basket as the theme song ends. And then as the episode title appears, at the end of the opening segments, they always show the title for the first story that is shown in the program. And in the UK version, along the bottom, it says written by, and then based on the books by McInkpen. But in the Nick Jr. version, they saved the written by and the author for the closing credits. So Kipper jumps into the basket, and all of his toys fly out. There's Rabbit and Sock Thing and the slipper again. Sock Thing is just this long sock puppet with red and white stripes on it. I'm not quite sure what animal it's supposed to be. You could assume that it's a snake, but he has another toy named Mr. Snake, which we don't see here in the intro. And at the very end, theme song says, "That's Kipper the dog. Now that's a frog." He sees a frog hopping along. It's kind of hard to tell the difference between the two because the frog and the toad in this intro look almost identical. Well, the toad looks a little bit of a darker shade of green, though. And if you look very closely as the frog hops away, he kind of raises his arm up and waves at Kipper as Kipper watches him hop away, and then he just kind of looks into the camera and smiles and shrugs. It's like, oh, so that's a frog. Okay, good to know. And then we just have an abrupt cut, and the episode begins. I have no idea why. I don't know which title came first, the tag sale or the jumble sale. The jumble sale was released on home video. Which video was that? Okay, so on the Friendship Tales VHS DVD, which was released in 2004, it has this episode on it, but it's called The Jumble Sale. And that was released it was definitely released in the US, but yeah, these are the US releases by Hit Entertainment. So in the Friendship Tales DVD, it's called The Jumble Sale, but in the original Nick Jr. broadcasts in the United States, it was called The Tag Sale.